Investigators call it one of the biggest scams in the country. Entire families of Hoosiers say they've fallen victim to it.
The chance to be a millionaire, officials say, lured thousands to invest in the Spindletop oil fortune. Tonight, Fox 59's Kimberly King has more on the woman investigators say ran the whole thing. Kim?
Cheryl, many Spindletop investors I've spoken to over the last 6 months have been afraid to come forward to speak out against her because of threats. In fact, we got a phone call threat last night. Tonight, what securities officials called a huge Spindletop scam, and the elderly Kentucky woman they say is behind it.
I want the people to know what she really is. I said, please, whoever you are, wherever you are, get out of it.
70-year-old Carol Golden of Lafayette has just one wish before she leaves this earth: to tell people what she thinks 75-year-old Jewell Robbins of Kentucky is really all about.
She's done people a very terrible injustice, and I think she ought to be made to pay.
We're talking about millions of dollars.
She is just this little old sweet Christian lady, and she'll come up and she will take your hand and she will pray. And it may be hard to believe, but it all started here in 1901 in the Spindletop oil fields outside Beaumont, Texas.
It was supposed to be the United States' biggest oil gusher in Texas.
Huge oil companies made billions on all the oil pumped out. It started back in the early 90s at a factory that my mother worked at.
I was 15. When we started,
We've had family members pass away that have held on to this dream, and they all still have the dream. That dream is sold by Jewell Robbins. Alleged victims we spoke to told us Jewell claims she's fighting in court for the trillions of dollars owed to the rightful heirs and the real owners of the Spindletop fields. Yes, I am afraid of repercussions. I don't know what kind of people we're dealing with. Both Beth and another investor, Lisa, asked we not reveal their identities.
my parents were involved. They were ministers here in Indiana.
Lisa says Jewell prayed on their strong Christian faith to first build tribe. They're supposedly heirs that were deceased and didn't leave behind anybody to leave their money to, so these oil royalties went to the government. According to alleged victims, Jewell sold shares for $100 apiece. She assured investors they'd be looking at least $1 million for a payout. They was going to purchase RVs, they was going to buy property, they was building log cabins. From the rural hills of Kentucky to Texas, New York, Indiana, and even Canada, Jewell found thousands of people to buy into her dream. Carol, a retired cook, and her husband Bob, a retired janitor, remember Jewell's meeting with investors in Newcastle.
When we got to this meeting, I mean to tell you, it was packed out. They had to bring more chairs in.
This is all the correspondence that Carol received from Jewell over the years, promising the couple that they would receive their millions soon. But after years went by, the money never came, and Carol got suspicious that the whole thing was a scam.
Hello? Hi, Mrs. Robbins. This is Pastor Jackson. How are you doing today? I'm great. How are you? Oh, by the grace of God, I'm doing well.
Investigator phone records capture Robbins talking with one of her alleged assistants, a pastor, about getting a potential new investor to give $25,000 on the phone.
So, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I feel good today.
I also want to get back to you to let you know, too, what we had talked about yesterday in reference to the funds, how we were going to handle that.
God bless you.
Thanks, sir.
Bye-bye.
Carol invested over $1,200, but she never saw a dime. We decided to head down to Kentucky to the state capitol in Frankfort to see if anyone's gone after Jewell Robbins.
My goal in all of this from the get-go was to get her to stop.
After months of investigation, the Kentucky Office of Financial Institutions and their attorney Bill Owsley went after Jewell Robbins, charging her for selling fraudulent securities.
And we're here in the matter of Office of Financial Institution versus Jewell Robbins.
Kentucky officials taking her to court.
We know over a very short period of time, a couple of years ago, she got several $100,000.
Discovered Jewell ran $2.5 million of investors' money through her National City bank account. Investigators say she scammed at least 10,000 families across the U.S. A Kentucky judge ordered Jewell to serve 100 days here at the Franklin County Jail after she ignored his order to stop.
What Jewell's in jail for now is nothing. I mean, it's a contempt of court charge.
We tried writing to her and even calling to request an interview with her, but she has nothing to say to us. A Kentucky grand jury has now indicted her on 4 felony counts. If convicted, she could face up to 20 years in jail.
She's been indicted by the grand jury in Lexington.
But we've now learned the judge let 75-year-old Jewell out early due to her heart and diabetes problems. Before she was released, we tried to talk to her longtime attorney, Ron Bowling, in Lexington.
Looking for Ron Bowling? We've been trying to reach him. We wanted to talk to him about Jewell Robbins.
He was nowhere to be found.
They ought to get her for mail fraud, because all this money went through the mail.
Even with Jewell Robbins facing felony charges, the urban legend of Spindletop's trillions lives on, as people we've talked to say others continue to sell her shares, preying on the elderly and many families with little means, like Carol Golden, who trusted the nice little old Christian lady from Kentucky who may turn out to be a fraud.
She's a scam artist. She'll bleed you dry. Please, whoever you are, wherever you are, get out of it. Don't be a sucker, and don't get the idea that she's got you believing that there's oil rights and there's something coming, because God knows up above there is not nothing coming.
Investigators say Robbins originally told people she was related to the heirs. Attorneys say more criminal prosecutors won't aggressively go after Robbins because they're not used to prosecuting white-collar crime. Robbins has her initial arraignment in court in Lexington next Wednesday. Cheryl?